What's up, guys? It is Trevor the Grid here again from Way of the Swan with another Way of the Swan battle report for you. Again, we're gonna have CYGNAR, the noble, glorious nation of CYGNAR, versus the evil minions of Lord Toruk from CRYX. Today, my opponent's bringing another Asphyxious list. This time it is Asphyxious1 instead of Asphyxious3. That's Iron Lich Asphyxious, as opposed to the last battle report, which featured Asphyxious the Hellbringer. Today I'm bringing a different list than last time, but it is the same list that you saw in battle report number 16 if you watched that. So it is Haley2. My list is Haley2 with a Bonded Stormwall, Thorn, a Squire, a unit of Gunmage Pistoliers with their unit attachment, the Gunmage Officer, a unit of Stormblade Infantry with their unit attachment, and 2 weapon attachments, a Journeyman Warcaster, Iris2, the Angel of Retribution, and Rupert Carvolo, the Piper of Ord. If you want to hear more about that list and why I made the decisions I did when I built it, you can go watch battle report number 16, Haley2 versus Lilith 2, and check that out. But that is my list. My opponent's list for today does not have a lot of Banes in it. It's got actually some interesting models. It's got some Blood Gorgers and some MkII. The list is Asphyxious1, Iron Lich Asphyxious, with 3 armor-piercing Bone Jacks, a Cankerworm, and 2 Ripjaws, as well as a Scarlock Thrall attached to him, a minimum unit of Bile Thralls, a maximum unit of Blood Gorgers, which can hit very, very hard between Gang and Parasite and Scything Touch. And then with Gang, they go up to Mat 8, so they hit pretty accurately already. A maximum unit of MkII Thralls, as well as a Necrosurgeon to get corpses off both of the MkII Thralls and the Blood Gorgers. The Wither Shadow Combine, Derek Wrath, General Gerlach Slaughterborn to help out those Blood Gorgers a little bit more, Saxon Auric for some lovely, lovely Pathfinder, and last but not least, a War Witch Siren, because why would you not? The scenario today is supply and demand. That is one 12-inch diameter zone in the center of the board. You can control that zone for 1 point, dominate it for 2. However, there are objectives on each side of the zone towards each player's table edge, and the objectives stop you from dominating as long as the objective is in your Warcaster or Warlock's control area. Additionally, they give free charges to Warbeasts or Warjacks within 4 inches of them as long as they're not being contested. And they net 1 point if you destroy the enemy objective. There's also a kill box in this scenario, so you gotta sort of push towards that zone aggressively. Haley doesn't usually like the kill box, but fortunately with a Stormwall, she's relatively safe. And the Stormwall can threaten a lot of assassination runs, especially with Epic Iris, so the kill box isn't that bad in this particular matchup. So let's get into the game and see how things go for CYGNAR. Alright, here we are in deployment. As you can see, my opponent won the roll to go first and chose to take the first turn. Haley2 generally likes to take the first turn, so you get board position for a strong feat on turn 2 or 3. So my opponent chose to go first to take that away from me. And I chose to take the left-hand side of the table with that beautiful building, because the building, as well as the Stormwall, can create a large area of line of sight blocking to hide Haley and my important models from the scary hellfires that Asphyxious can throw at me. Additionally, there's that wall in front of the zone which I don't want to deal with the storm wall, so I chose the left-hand side. You can see my opponent deployed there. He put his MkII Thralls on the far side of the table away from the camera, the Blood Gorgers closer to the camera, and Asphyxious and his battle group sorted towards the center. I deployed the Gun Mages across from the Blood Gorgers because Gun Mages don't usually have a problem taking out Blood Gorgers, whereas Blood Gorgers can do a lot of damage if they get to Stormblade Infantry, which they probably will, because Stormblade Infantry tend to be very short-ranged regardless. So the Stormblade Infantry across from the MkII Thralls, which they're actually pretty good at killing. With Deadeye, they need boosted 7s to hit effectively, and then if the MkII Thralls are clustered together, which they usually are because of their low command, the AoEs from the Standard Bearer can actually do a lot of damage to them. My opponent's taking his first turn, giving Pathfinder to the Blood Gorgers with Saxon Auric, everything just running up. Cankerworm, as you can see up there, took an advance, and then his affinity movement. There's a Ripjaw running up with a focus from Asphyxious. Asphyxious casting a Breath of Corruption through it. That is a cloud effect when it enters play, so if he gets it in a good deviation, it could really stuff up my turn in the future. Unfortunately, it didn't deviate to a particularly good spot, so it's just going to be sitting in the middle. Not too important. The other Ripjaw and the War Siren running up. Here's some Mechanthrals running up. Everything runs. Turn 1 is so exciting. There's just so much running. You can see Asphyxious charged up to that wall there to get some cover. When I chose the left-hand side of the table, I knew I was going to give up that wall. But Asphyxious is generally survivable enough that I'm not looking for an assassination run unless my opponent gives me one. And if I do need to, I can telekinesis him and time bomb him and reduce the defense bonus given by that wall if I really want to kill Asphyxious. You can see that Pistol Wraith ran up in front of the wall there, so my plan this turn is to try to kill it with a Arcane Bolt. So I allocated 1 to Thorn, 4 to the Stormwall, kicked the Squire, so Haley's on 4. TK'd Thorn up, took the Arcane Bolt, which is just in range, needing a 6 to hit, and then a 6 to kill if I hit. I missed that one, reroll, missed that one as well, and move Thorn back with his reaction drive. So 6s are hard apparently, and I'm gonna have to eat the shots off that guy on my Stormwall and just lose some board position, which is a little bit annoying. Stormwall's moving up, facing the Death Ripper in front, or the Ripjaw in front of him, just taking a bunch of shots, doing a bunch of damage. I didn't take any critical systems out, but I did hit it once and deal a significant amount of damage. And then put out Covering Fire to annoy those low armor little warjacks there. And a pod to contest the zone if it matters. Stormblade Infantry received Heroic Call and Arcane Shield, and they're just spreading out to avoid any AoEs from Breath of Corruption that my opponent has. Iris moved back a little bit there to just keep in the late game without getting killed by Venom or something early on. And doing the old token search. Alrighty, here are the gun mages running up. Not too worried about where they're positioned right now. I kind of want to shoot through that channel into the zone created by the house and the forest, but I'm worried about the Bloodgorgers actually running behind that forest and just becoming difficult to shoot with line of sight blocking trees in my way. So we are back over to my opponent's turn. He's doing some planning, allocating 1 focus to Cankerworm, and then moving up the Pistol Wraith to take his shots into the Stormwall. Hits the first one, no damage. Hits the second one, no damage. Hits the third one, so I get Death Shield. So the Stormwall is probably going to be sitting there on my next turn. Not too important. I don't really want to reposition it, and fortunately I have enough stuff to contest the zone that next turn is probably going to be a feat turn, so I'm not too worried about my opponent being able to clear it before Death Shield gets moved away. And now I can take out the Pistol Wraith regardless. It is a little bit annoying that I had to take that early, but I'll take it. That's okay. Alright. Bloodgorgers running up. They got Pathfinder from CYGNAR previously, so they're just going to get all up in there. As I said before, some of them are hiding behind that forest, so they're going to be a little bit tricky to get line of sight to. Fortunately, that means that they can't also get line of sight through the forest, so they're probably not going to be able to charge me, even with Pathfinder from CYGNAR. But I want to take them out before they get there. With Gang, Bloodgorgers are mat 8, so they can actually deal a lot of damage to high defense infantry models. They only need 7s to kill gun mages, and with 2 attacks, it's not too much of a problem. Daragrath, Death Road to move around some of the undead models, and then the Ripjaw's moving up so that Asphyxious can charge it, checking his control area. My opponent's plan here was to try to catch as many gun mages as possible in his feet, which deals a power 5 to enemy living models in his control area. Unfortunately, he didn't quite get as many as he wanted to. I didn't put them all too close together, so he only got 4, which, if he rolls well, is still pretty significant, but he only ends up killing 2 with the power 5s, needing 7s to kill. He threw 2 Hellfires into Thorn and missed them, or missed one of them. The other one did a negligible amount of damage. So he's feeding, getting back his focus, parasiting Thorn, and then teleporting back to safety. My opponent said after this that he wasn't too happy with how he used the feat this game, and I think I agree. If he has the feat open, Asphyxious can threaten a lot of assassination runs, as well as he could, with the correct spells in place, he could do a lot of damage to that Stormwall if it comes down to that in the late game. And because he used his feat so early, that's not going to be an option for him. Here's Cankerworm moving up, taking his attack into that Stormblade, taking him out. And then he ends his activation in Asphyxious control, so he takes his affinity movement. Unfortunately, he's out of his control there, so he's not going to be able to get focused next turn. That is a bit of an annoying spot for him because I don't really want to take a free strike on a Parasited Thorn. So even if I feat next turn, I'm probably going to have to eat the armor-piercing attack from Cankerworm. And with Parasite, that means Thorn can take a lot of damage from that. Some Mechanothral's moving up. I did leave one Stormblade in charge range by accident. So he charged it with a couple models. One of them got into his attack and ended up missing. He needs 8s to kill me with his power 11 fist, so he chose to take a combo strike to go up to power 15 and ended up missing, needing a 7. So that was unfortunate for the little Mechanothral there, but Mat 5 is not great. That's why those guys only cost 5 points. The rest of the army repositions around to the back, and the turn is flipped over to me. So I'm going to have to do a lot this turn. I'm going to try to kill as many of the Mechanothrals as I can, and then also take out the Necrosurgeon. The Necrosurgeon's sort of towing in the zone in the back there, next to a cluster of Mechanothrals and Stitch Thralls. Hopefully with the AoEs on the Stormblade guns, I can take out as many of those models as possible, and then be able to shoot the Necrosurgeon without her being able to Sacrificial Pawn anywhere. Junior Arcane Shields Haley, because Haley's going to have to move up to defeat this turn, and I don't want Asphyxious moving up and just Hellfiring her a couple times, trying to get her down. So she moved up, allocated 4 to the Storm Wall, I think, and then cast Deadeye onto the Stormblade Infantry, leaving her on 2 focus and Arcane Shield at a respectable armor 19. Hopefully I can dissuade any errant Hellfires from going her way. She took a hand cannon shot into the Pistol Wraith and missed, I think. And here's the Storm Wall going, boosting a gunshot into the Pistol Wraith. Spinning up the Metal Storm cannons, they just take tons and tons of shots everywhere. Pew, pew, pew. Cannon shot going into the Ripjaw. I think I did take out his Arc Node at this point, so he is almost useless. And I'm putting a pod down to clear 2 Mechanothrals off of that Stormblade, and putting it between those 2 Mechanothrals on the far side of the board there, so that'll allow me to shoot the pod and turn into a 3-inch AoE to kill both of those models. And the pod doesn't even die because it's immune to electricity. Super sweet tech. Here's the Stormblade Infantry advancing. No assault orders here. I want to keep their targets relatively clear. I think I advanced a little more aggressively than I should have. Only a couple of them were going to ever get shots because the AoEs were going to be able to take out a lot of Mechanothrals. So I have a cluster in the back there I didn't really need. Taking a shot from the Storm Gunner into the Mechanothral in the center of that cluster there. Dealing a couple points to the Necrosurgeon, but giving her a bunch of corpse tokens. And then another one going into a Bile Thrall, which is going to hit a Stitch Thrall and then 2 Bile Thralls. Those AoEs getting work done. And then one last little Mechanothral there going down. Stormblade in the front, unfortunately moved outside of 5 inches of the unit leader, so his range is reduced to 4 inches, so he's not in range to kill that Mechanothral in the center there. Alright, well, the Necrosurgeon has no sack pawn targets, is what it looks like, and she's taking a couple points of damage from the AoEs, so moving up the gun mages, I think I can get 2 or 3 on line of sight to her, so that is the intention. We're moving around that forest. We're putting my gun mages in harm's way, but I think if I can take that Necrosurgeon out and just not have to worry about the Mechanothral unit for the rest of the game, I think it's probably worth it. First one checks line of sight, gets it, misses. Second one also misses, needing 7s, and then the rest just decide to take out Bile Thralls and a couple Blood Gorgers. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to deal with that Necrosurgeon in the next turn. I think I could probably take her out, but it's going to have to take a little bit of doing because I'm going to have to wipe out the remaining Mechanothrals in order to stop her from sack pawning everywhere. She doesn't have any Stitch Thralls left, so that is a little bit of a benefit. She doesn't have anything she can sack pawn to besides Mechanothrals. And the feat goes down, and that is the end of my turn. So generally, against these CRYX lists that have a lot of arc nodes, I want to activate Asphyxious first, so he's not able to move models where he can arc onto them, or arc through arc nodes, or cast AoEs onto models. So he cast a Breath of Corruption on the Mechanothral in front of him in order to create that cloud there, and hopefully move it out of move the last Mechanothrall, which is hiding behind the wall, out of Haley's feet so that the Mechanothralls will be able to activate and actually do things when they are created. Unfortunately, the Necrosurgeon just goes and isn't quite able to put Mechanothralls into a spot that they aren't in Haley's feet, so the Mechanothralls just advance. Bloodgorgers advance to engage some of the gun mages and block as much line of sight to the rear models as possible. And other things reposition a little bit. Alright, so we're back over to me. The Stormwalk, Death Chill is expired, so now I can actually move it. Arcane Shield and Deadeye are going back on those Stormblade Infantry to try to get as much work out of them as possible. Thorn's moving up and taking his attacks into Cankerworm. Ends up disrupting him and doing a little bit of damage to his Cortex. The Lightning Pod goes down, taking out a couple Mechanothralls and giving me a good place to shoot lightning at. And then the cannons, I was hoping to get some shots into Gerlach, but unfortunately because of the cloud I wasn't able to, so I just ended up spinning up my guns and firing willy-nilly at all sorts of little dudes. Stormblade Infantry going, shooting those AoEs all over the place, killing the Ripjaw in the middle, killing Cankerworm. Oh, he got killed by a cannon shot from the Stormwall. And then a bunch of shots going into the Bloodgorgers. And we are back at my opponent's turn. I think my gun mages also were able to take out a couple of those Bloodgorgers, but not enough to really limit their movement. Here is Gerlach Slaughterborn going in. He received Scything Touch and Puppet Strings from Asphyxious and the Wither Shadow Combine. He's able to take out 4 Stormblade Infantry before I make a tough check and stop his murderous rampage. The Bloodgorgers all going in. We got a couple onto Gun Mages. That one Gun Mage in the middle moved up to engage some of the Bloodgorgers to sort of limit their movement. He got killed. One other Gun Mage got killed, and they got a couple charges off on Thorn, but because of set defense, ended up missing their attacks. Asphyxious moving up, casting a couple spells. I think he Hellfired a little bit and then teleported over to the side. Alrighty, so here's the Stormwall going. We got to take out Gerlach Slaughterborn before he's able to kill the rest of my Stormblade Infantry, so we end up shooting with Iris, doing a little bit of damage. Shooting him with the Stormwall, but he ended up toughing, and then we're dropping a Lightning Pod to try to take out the remaining Bloodgorgers in the zone, and unfortunately they tough as well. So, tough no knockdown being a little bit annoying this turn, and I am finally able to clear the zone after some of the gun mage shots go into those models as well. Unfortunately, that leaves some of the closer models alive, so I'm going to have to deal with them. Daregrath's moving in, taking out some of the Stormblade Infantry, using his Battle Wizard to take out more of the Stormblade Infantry, and then sprays from the War Siren going in, taking them out, more of them out as well, and the Ripjaw moving in to attack. We're getting a little bit low on clock here, so the game starts to get a little bit quick. The Bloodgorgers attacking Thorn again, doing a couple points of damage, but not a great amount. And Thorn being wrecked finally. He had taken small amounts of damage over the course of the game between Hellfires and Bloodgorger charges, and with Parasite, those did add up, so eventually he got taken out. The Scarlock Thrall shooting a Hellfire at one of the remaining Stormblades, taking him out as well. So Gaspy just moving up, camping all of his focus, and chilling. Now, fortunately, I have Iris in this list, so Gaspy moving up there and threatening the Stormwall is not too much of a problem because I'm able to take her. I can take his focus off using her bolt, but unfortunately, I'm not in range to Deadeye Gaspy, and with Thorn dead, I can't TK him. So Iris goes in needing a 6 and misses because 6s are hard. I decide to just I take a couple of attacks. Stormblade Officer kills the Ripjaw on the top there, and then the Stormwall ends up getting 4 focus and then just moving out of Gaspy's threat range. So I'm not going to be able to get charged next turn, and I can take a couple shots because the Stormwall greatly outthreats him with those big guns. So I decide to pull the Stormwall back and take some cannon shots at him and just try, even though he's armor 23 at this point, at dice -8, try to start getting some damage off. Here the Gun Mage is going first, taking some shots into, the Scarlock Thrall. Once the Scarlock Thrall is dead, Asphyxious' damage output is greatly reduced because he'll have to cast his debuff spells. So one of the first Gun Mage just hits and kills the Scarlock Thrall. So good for him. Arcane Shield goes down onto the Storm Wall, and he moves back. Checking my control to make sure that he is still within gun range of Asphyxious, and he starts taking his shots. Boosting to hit, needing a 9, and then boosting damage at dice -8. I believe I did hit one time and deal a significant amount of damage, 5 points or so, to keep Gaspy honest in the future. Dropping a pod to try to clear the zone again, but unfortunately one of the Bloodgorger's toughs and I'm out of things to attack with. So the last Bloodgorger there is contesting the zone, so I'm not able to score a second point. And then covering fire going in front of Daragrath just to try to deal some damage if he moves anywhere. Daragrath charging through the covering fire regardless, not taking any damage. Charging a gun mage, killing him, battle wizarding into the storm pod to take it out, and then light cabbing over in front of the storm wall to try to mitigate its movement. Saxonoric, I believe, took a gunshot and missed one of the gun mages, and then some hellfires going down into the gun mages as well, taking one of them out, getting Tremulous a soul. The Warwitch Siren running up to engage Iris so that she will at least have to take a free strike if she wants to move anywhere. Especially with that Shadowbind, even if the Warwitch Siren hits the 9 she needs to hit, and then even doesn't kill me with the damage roll, she's going to be able to stop me in place. I ended up allocating some focus to the Storm Wall. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for what I wanted to do. The clock was so low at this point, we each had single digits. I think we each had 5 minutes or so. I wasn't thinking particularly clearly. So the plan was to get the Storm Wall to move over to that Bloodgorger, boost to hit a double-handed throw and throw him at Asphyxious, and then try to take him out, knock him over, shoot him with Iris, and take him out with a couple Arcane Bolts. If he took the power 17, a couple power 10s, and a couple Arcane Bolts with the damage he'd already taken, it probably should have killed him. But I missed. I didn't have enough focus to boost all the rolls I wanted, and I ended up missing the attack on the Bloodgorger, and then just buying a couple of attacks and not doing much damage. Stormblade Infantry moving over, killing off Edbonia, so he's not going to be able to take off Arcane Shield anymore. And the Gun Mages taking a shot at Asphyxious after Iris did a couple points with her her crossbow. So the clock's getting really low here. On a good assassination run on either part is going to be a little bit awkward, and then my opponent has, I think, less than 3 minutes. So the Asphyxious actually killing the Stormwall was going to be a little bit of an issue because he needed to roll all those attack rolls, and with only a couple minutes left on the clock, I was unsure whether he could actually do it. So Asphyxious just charged in, did a little bit of damage with his charge attack, and then camped a bunch of focus. Daragrath moving over, casting some Hellfires, I think. Oh, and the Wither Shadow Combine moved up and tried to take a couple shots at Iris. One of them missed and whiplashed back. And the Stormwall, getting all of the resources, punches Asphyxious into the dirt, ending in a CYGNAR victory after a long, hard-fought attrition game. So I hope you all enjoyed that battle report. It is a little bit tough for CRYX to deal with a Stormwall like that. Asphyxious really is the one who wants to kill it without a Kraken or another heavy hitter in that list. And if he uses his feet early on like he did, it's a little bit difficult for him to be able to take that big target out with all that armor without any support from his infantry at all. So again, I hope you enjoyed that game. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe and all that jazz, and we'll see you for the next battle report.